I want to thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed the day, and I hope the American Legion is adding to the joy that you're experiencing today. We've been doing our best to turn 4th of July into more fun, more interest, more joy for everybody in the community. You notice we added on a brunch this morning, and we extended our barbecue. Why did we do that? Because a lot of people in the Palisades come here and they get up in the morning from their house, they go to run, they go home to clean up, and then they come back for the parade, and then they go back home again. But there are a lot of great people out there that don't live in the Palisades. And we've got active duty coming all the way from Fort Irwin, California. That's the example of why we're doing what we're doing. This is an inclusive community. We're not a set-aside community. The American Legion wants to promote that. We also like to promote what kind of values the American Legion stands for and what the United States military stands for on a day like Independence Day. What I want to do is I want to start off, we have two amazing speakers to start with, and then we're going to have the presentation also from the commander of Fort Irwin. We're starting off with the superintendent of West Point. West Point itself is a unique institution. There are 4 cadets standing here that will tell you it's not a regular college experience. It's a college experience injected with 3 words: duty, honor, and country. If you can imagine 4 years in uniform when you could have been partying and having fun like the rest of your classmates from high school, but these cadets have chosen to spend 4 years in the military academy to prepare themselves to become leaders, not just in our military, but leaders in our community. And what's amazing today is we're graced with the presence of a 3-star general who is the superintendent of that fine organization. Not only is General Gillen the superintendent of the academy, he also is an officer with the Ranger Regiment. He's an officer with the 2nd Infantry Division, which is the infantry division that stands guard on against the North Koreans. And he worked at USASOC. So we have one of the most accomplished officers here today, but his life right now is devoted to developing young officers. I'd like you all to give a hand to Lieutenant General Stephen Gillen.
Hey everybody, good afternoon. First of all, happy 4th of July, all right? Yeah, happy Independence Day, all right? The birth of this great nation, think about it, when that happened. And so it is just an honor to be here. And for all of you, just so you know, whether you have any association with the military academy or not, or any of the service academies, by being citizens of our nation, you are stakeholders in our academy. So don't forget that, okay? You are stakeholders. Right? We are fortunate to bring young men and women from all around the nation, all right, all over the world, all right, to come in and with different backgrounds and upbringings and attitudes and beliefs, and come in and really shape them over the course of 4 years into being leaders of character that are going to be leaders not only well into the future for our Army, but our nation also. And our young generation represented by a whole bunch of young, and not just our cadets in uniform right over here, but also right here, I'm looking at some of these future cadets potentially. Future cadet? Yep, exactly. That's all she had to do was just shake her head yes. She has no idea, but mom and dad, you want her to go to one of the academies, okay? It really is a privilege to be able to come here and serve, as one of the reviewing folks here at the parade. You talk about an awesome community just by looking around at the number of people that were out along the streets today that ran in the 5 and the 10Ks. And that's just I commend you all as the people that live here, work here, to come and support your local community. Because it starts in our local communities in everything that we do. And I say that because I see it at the United States Military Academy, just looking for talent out there, young men and women, to say, hey, do you have what it takes to go to the academy? And if you have questions about that, come see these cadets that are in the white over gray pants, and you can ask them about what it's like there. A couple things I just leave you with for the academy and really our Army. As we look around the world and we see all the different turbulence that's ongoing, all right, we are fortunate to live in this nation. And we talk about the Independence Day, the birth of our nation, starts with the Constitution of the United States, the Declaration of Independence, and what that means for us. And I will tell you, that is the Constitution. That is exactly what we are committed to. We swear an oath to the Constitution. We don't swear an oath to anybody, but to the Constitution of our nation. And it's our nation that gives us the rights, the freedoms to do and enjoy all the things that we do across our nation every single day. And we've got to remind ourselves of that sometimes, because there's not another nation in this world, and I've been fortunate or unfortunate in some cases, some would say, to travel all over this world, all right? And I know when I show back up on the soil of the United States of America, it is Appreciate the United States Day when I show back up, all right? I have an appreciation for it. And that is something, and some of you have experienced that possibly. It is Appreciate America. And we've got to be thankful for what this day is to our nation. But it's not just the 4th of July, what it means. It's really every single day that we have here in our nation, and to be thankful for that. The last thing is, as we think about the Army and the military academy, for those, I know there's some Air Force and Navy and Marine veterans out there also. Our military provides incredible opportunities for people. And for young people that might be like, hey, I don't know what I want to do. I don't necessarily know if I want to go to college. I'm not sure what that means. For some people, it's like, hey, it's really expensive to go to college. All right? Service academies, I'm not saying they're free, but it doesn't require you to pay tuition, a tuition bill, because that tuition bill comes due at graduation, which is called 5 years of service in active duty, in regard to any of the services, all right? At the military academy, it's 5 years in the Army, okay? But our services are the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. They also provide incredible opportunities from a skills, knowledge, education, experience, and particularly leader development and character development. We talk about values. And the values that Jim mentioned up here, which I look at as the ideals of duty, honor, country, but the values of what hard work means, of what loyalty is, what duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. Those are all things that all of us can reflect on and relate to. And I would just offer up that as we look at, you look around within your community and you look at your grandsons and granddaughters, your nieces and nephews, your sons and daughters, please know that the military, and I will say, because I'm wearing the Army uniform, the Army provides incredible opportunities to grow, learn, and develop as a young adult in today's world. And so those are the things that, the positive aspects that I always try to look for and try to promote to people all across our nation. So it's an honor to be here again. Thanks so much. Hope everybody hangs out for the fireworks tonight. Hey, I don't know if the caterers are still, yeah, they are. Hey, give a round of applause to these folks. Is that some great chow or what? That's some awesome food. I saw them cranking up the fire pit out there this morning after the run. And I tell you what, one, it's hot as all get out, but I tell you, they had like, how many, 75 roasts out there on the about 75? Yeah, 100, all right? And of course, they've all been ready to go, all for you to be able to enjoy. And so thanks again, we appreciate it. Thank you all. Have a happy 4th of July. Go Army. Okay, we have got an inject here called, it's 1 minute, it's a 1 minute video on why West Point.
Yeah.
It's free, okay, kind of.
Okay, our next guest is a man I'm honored to call a friend, a Medal of Honor recipient, a man who epitomizes the word integrity. I love to tell the story about how my daughter came back after one of Gary's presentations and said, "Daddy, I learned about the word integrity from Gary's talk today." It's a man who's not just dedicated himself on the battlefield in Vietnam, but as long as I've known him, he's dedicated himself to inspiring youth. He has a group called Tribute to Valor. He brings groups of young disadvantaged youth he took a group to the LBJ Johnson Space Center. He flew a group of young people from Compton, I believe it was, on Air Force planes. He used his clout to bring this group for STEM training all the way to Texas. We're going to play a quick video of Gary, and then we're going to invite him up. Thank you.
Thank you. No, please continue. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I've been fortunate to have 3 careers. I guess that means I'm getting old, right? My first career was started out in the military, and I joined the military when I was 15 years old. I got halfway through basic training, Port Ord, California, and about halfway through basic training, the first sergeant had time because, we had to use snail mail then to find to get back to your hometown to find out what kind of birth certificate we had. So halfway through basic training, I got called into the first sergeant's office. He said, "Luttrell, how old are you?" Well, I knew I was busted. I said, "I'm 15, but I'm a really good soldier, aren't I?" And he said, "Yes, but you can't stay." Gave me a $10 bill and a bus ticket from Fort Ord back to L.A. I'd hitchhiked from Kentucky. I come from a very dysfunctional family. And I'd hitchhiked out from Kentucky to El Monte, where my grandmother was staying. And I knew I couldn't go back there, so I was basically walking the streets of L.A. homeless. And I seen a help wanted sign. And went in, explained to Mr. and Mrs. Toy who I was. I need a job. And so I worked there for 2 years. And on my legal 17th birthday, I joined the Army and started back. I knew the Army was for me when I was 9 years old. My uncle took me down to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and I had no idea people jumped out of airplanes. And we went out on the drop zone. I see this old C-119 for you Air Force people. Now we're getting old, aren't we? The C-119 called a flying boxcar come over, and all these little dots coming out. I asked my uncle, I said, "What is that?" He said, "It's paratroopers." I said, "Okay, now what's paratroopers?" He said, "That's people that jump out of airplanes." And I said, "Oh my God, I've got to do that. I've got to jump out of these airplanes." So I joined the military at an early age, again at 17. I come from a very, very, very dysfunctional family. I had very little leadership at home. And I had always felt that I was a nobody. I was treated like a nobody. Lived with one family member, different family member. But in the back of my mind, I said, I want to be somebody someday. I had this burning desire. I didn't know how. I didn't know when. But I am going to be somebody someday. When I joined the military, the skies opened up, and I said, I can be somebody. Now, I'm not a recruiter, okay? Not at all. The military fit me at the time that I needed the military. So I said to myself, how are you going to be somebody? And I said, find a mentor, someone to look up to. Be that person. Guess who that was? That was a young Sergeant E5 that had the U.S. Army Ranger tab on. Master jump wings on his chest as a Sergeant E5. Sergeant Sawyer. When it come time to give all the classes, the E7s, the E6s in the platoon didn't give those classes. No. We're infantry. Who's the best infantry? That Ranger Sergeant, Sergeant Sawyer. And I said, you know, I am going to be Sergeant Sawyer one day. When I was 19 years old, I made Sergeant E5. And I realized that I had a gift for the first time. I realized that I was gifted. Because as a Sergeant E5, you got a fire team you got to lead. And I realized that I could sit down at night with a field manual, read that field manual, lay it down, the next day walk into a classroom and give that class verbatim. I said, wow, I can be someone. I can be somebody. I'm gifted. I have a gift. For the first time in my life as a 19-year-old Sergeant E5, I felt like I am now somebody. I'm not that nobody that no one wanted, okay? I'm somebody. From that, I set different goals. I left the 173rd in Okinawa, actually it was the 503rd Battle Group then, went back to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Got the opportunity to go to Jump Master School, and at the age of 21, I've got those Master Jump Wings. Right after that, winter class Ranger School started in November, graduated in February. None of the lieutenants wanted to go in the winter. Guess what? Throw me in, coach. Myself and another E6 got the 2 allocations to go to Ranger School. My Ranger buddy was a Marine E6, Force Recon. Good, he was good. I was an airborne, master parachutist, Sergeant E5, been in a recon platoon. I questioned the officers and the NCOs that had gone to Ranger School before me. I said, what do you have to do to make honor graduate? Now I'm setting the bar high for myself. I am going to be, God, if I can graduate the first 10% of my class, I can be somebody. Burning desire. God, I gotta be somebody someday. They said, well, the best way is to earn extra points. It's called spot reports and special reports. Spot report was 10 points. Special report was 25 points. You start out, well, you did when I went through Ranger School, with 1,000 points. And you deducted as you went down. If you only got 90% on a patrol, guess what? You lost 10 points, okay? But if you get a spot report or you get a special report, that boosts you back up. They said, if you want to do this, really get good at point and compass. And I did. I practiced my pace. I practiced my compass. My Marine E6 done the same thing. I didn't know it. I said, Ranger buddy, we'll volunteer to be point and compass. Now, if you think about it, if you're elected for every patrol, because the patrol leader selects who he wants, if you're elected to be the point and compass, they want to keep you fresh. That means you get an extra couple hours sleep at night. Okay? Stay fresh. Stay fresh. And we led our patrol. New patrol leader would come in. Luttrell and Jones, point and compass. We'd pick up a 10. A couple times picked up a 25. Got down to the last patrol. TAC officer called both of us in and said, okay, you're going to graduate 1 and 2. And here's how it's going to go. My ranger buddy had all his patrols. I had 1 to go. He said, Latrell, if you can ace this patrol, you're going to be number 1. If you don't, you're going to be number 2. Well, guess what? I ended up number 2. My ranger, I hated Marines for the longest time after that. No, not really. He was my ranger buddy. But at that point, I said, I can be somebody. For all you young men and women, set goals. Find mentors. That mentor might be a captain. It might be a first lieutenant. It may be a platoon sergeant. It's got some years of experience. Listen. You'll be able to identify whether it's a strong non-commissioned officer or a weak non-commissioned officer. Find a strong non-commissioned officer. Mentor. Set goals. Accomplish that goal. Set goals. Accomplish that goal. And you'll come out on top. Okay? My second career, 22 years in the Army, and I quit having fun. And I got out. Started a second career with the Veterans Administration, and I ended up working for a retired Brigadier General, Medical Corps. But he asked me to be he recruited me to be the patient advocate at a VA hospital. And he says, I want you to be my hospital sergeant major. I said, I can handle that job. But he gave me the authority to represent the patients at a VA hospital. And I enjoyed that job immensely. Now, I'm dating myself. I'm getting old, okay? My third career, I formed a foundation. It's called Tribute to Valor. If you want to know more about Tribute to Valor, just Google tributetovalor.org. And I formed the foundation to get as many Medal of Honor recipients, athletes, influential people into the schools to talk to school children about the 6 core values of the Medal of Honor. Courage, commitment, sacrifice, integrity. The most important word in the English language, integrity, citizenship, and patriotism. To date, we've talked to roughly 90,000 students, and we have changed some lives. As Jim mentioned earlier, we also have what we call a STEM liner. And that's where we take a group of inner city children down to the Space Center in Houston for 4 days and 4 nights. And Chris Cassidy, a personal friend of mine, was a Navy SEAL for 10 years and went on to be an astronaut, goes with us. And we, again, change lives. I've had 4 of those trips. It cost about $150,000 to have a STEM liner. And with 50 to 75 children. We've got funding already in place to have one in October out of Phoenix. And we're starting now our fundraiser to have our 6th one, right, baby? 6th one in Branson. Okay. This is my life. My wife and I are both motivational speakers. She loves to talk to the young women about her breaking the glass ceiling with her sports and going on to be a stunt woman. And believe it or not, young women can look at her and say, you know what? I can follow her footsteps and be somebody as well. So life is beautiful for me right now. I couldn't ask for much more. I'm newlywed, okay? We got married in January. Her and I spend about a third of our time in California, a third of our time in Florida, and a third of our time out on the road talking to our children. So that's my 3 careers. I do want to emphasize one thing, especially for you youth. One thing. if you get nothing out of what I've said today, please leave with this thought. Integrity is the most important word in the English language. You lose your integrity, you lose it all. Don't let anyone ever challenge your integrity. Don't ever lose your integrity. You can't lie, you can't steal, and you can't cheat. Look in the mirror. Ask yourself, who am I? Am I a person with integrity? Never lose your integrity. Never, never. We all make mistakes. Susie called me out a couple weeks ago. I hung up the phone and she said, honey, it hurts. She said, integrity violation. You did not tell the total truth. I whitewashed it. She called me out on it. I said, thank you. Thank you. Every now and then we have to do a check on ourselves. Our spouses, our friends have to do a check on us. It's an integrity check. I picked up the phone and corrected it. I said, I'm sorry. I did not betray the truth totally. I whitewashed it. That's an integrity check. Never, ever, ever lose your integrity. Now, I think we said we can have some Q&A for a bit. 2 questions? Oh, we need to move on. Okay. If we'll take 2 questions. And George, for me, are the general? Okay. Any questions? Well, thank you.
Amazing words. Frankly, you cannot get enough Gary Luttrell. Amazing man. I also want to say something just before we move on to the next guest. We talk about heroism here and the values of our modern military. Another thing that we're concerned with in the Post is the portrayal of the military. I just want to mention the diversity of the military. Cadets, you guys all stand up? This is the face of our modern officer corps. What states you guys come from? What states? From all across America, from all walks of life. 4 of these cadets have been interning with me for the last week. That's why they're in tears, sad, depressed, but that's okay. It's okay. This one snuck in. I don't know how she snuck in. I'll sit down. I also want to say something. I'd like to. Betsy Gillen, would you please stand up? Superintendent's wife. Who's the wife of the superintendent of West Point? She is another West Point graduate. She is an officer, she was a battalion commander, and she was in company commander, but military intelligence, which is the only branch you guys want to change. Only branch. If you guys have any questions about the academy, Betsy would be happy to answer them afterwards. Thank you. And for our next guest, we wanted to bring in a taste of what the military is like in Southern California. How many of you guys know about Fort Irwin? We got thousands of American soldiers right here in Southern California. A lot of us don't even know what's the great things that they're doing. I'd like to invite up Colonel Lane Bomar, an armor officer, an Iraq vet, and the garrison commander from the National Training Center at Fort Irwin. And we're going to play a quick video. Bomar.
Like Jim said, my name is Lane Bomar. I'm the current Senior Mission Commander for NTC, National Training Center, and the Garrison Commander. We're 2 hats for a little bit of time. Like the video says, our main mission is to make sure we win the next fight. first battle of the next war. We believe that if we make that 14-day training period your hardest day that you have, I think you earn a little sweat in that box. We are trying to preserve blood. We actually have to send a brigade elsewhere. So how we do that? 14 rotations a year. We train a brigade combat team, either a striker brigade or a Abrams brigade combat team, about 5,000 people that come into the box for a 14-day period. How we do that? We replicate what we're seeing in the world right now. What you're seeing in the news in Ukraine, we are replicating that in NTC. What you're seeing in Israel, we're replicating. What a brigade would have to do in combat, electronic warfare, we replicate that. We can jam there. The airfield, we control the air there. We actually have civilians on the battlefield who act like the populace. We even have our own social media. We have Facebook, and I think it's called Y now. Can't use X. But we actually have social media that we make the brigade deal with social media, deal with threats they never see that. Why? Just to conserve life. So that's why we're there. I always love to talk about what we do there because in the end, it's going to save lives and it's going to make us ready. So if you're ever in the chance, National Training Center, you want to come down and see what we're doing, come by, see us. If you have questions about what we're doing, come by. I'll be here for a little bit longer. But I want to thank you once again for your time. I want you to just enjoy the 4th of July. Thank you.
Before I call up our next guest, who's Senator Ben Allen, I just want to say thank you guys. I've been commander for 4 years. The reason I'm not wearing my Legion cover is because we now have a new commander, Joe Ramirez. Stand up, go here. And I've had the honor and privilege of wearing this uniform for 30 years, and in 30 days, I retire from the Army, and we're going to have a hell of a party on August 10th, just say that. Well, all right. Any person who has worn the uniform of this great country, please stand up. I like all veterans, all active duty, please stand up. All I can say is there are heroes amongst us. Thank you very much for your service. Senator Allen?
Thank you so much. Ben Allen, I'm proud to represent this area in the California State Senate. I've represented this community for 9 years now, going on 10. And this is always such a wonderful, wonderful parade and celebration. I just want to thank everybody who's been so involved. And I want to particularly thank the Legion for highlighting the service members today. What an inspirational day. I've got my son here who loves military history and has a floor full of toy soldiers. So he's had a lot of fun just hearing these incredible stories today. All I want to say today, I've served on our committee on aerospace and defense, where we work on trying to strengthen California's engagement in the military, make sure that we continue to play a cutting-edge role in the R&D and all the important work that's underway right here in this state, developing the cutting-edge weaponry and technology and equipment that are going to help these young people go out there and defend our nation. California, as the center of technology and innovation, has a unique place in helping maintain America's cutting-edge advantage against a lot of our competitors overseas. So I just want to say, in this crazy moment in American history where it doesn't seem like we get along enough, the people that we're highlighting today really serve as a real inspiration for all of us. With all of the battles and discussions and debates happening at the national level, I just want to say thank you to all the young people who step up to serve our country. You are inspiring us. It's a moment for us to come together and be inspired by you and your selflessness. Thank you for your service. Thank you for stepping up for our nation. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you for your service to the community, sir. I'm going to turn this over. we've had some inspirational words, some very heavy words, some amazing talks. Now we get to the real heavy stuff. We have two comedians. Hope you enjoy. Some may come for to speak with Medal of Honor recipient, to speak with the general. Please feel free to speak with them over there. We'll have opportunities to take pictures. They're here to meet you, so take the opportunity.
Before we let Jim go, we can't let him go just like this. This is his last event. And I want to really share with you that he is going to be a very, very tough act to follow. Stepping into his shoes is going to be very hard. He's been here 4 years, and he's transformed this Legion to a situation, to an entity unlike it's ever been before. This is the busiest 4th of July I've ever seen, with a mixture of people from all backgrounds, community, veterans, non-veterans. But I want to close with this is about Jim. It's not, and I'm serious, I told him this before. I'm serious, it's not one home run. It's not 2 home runs. It's not 3 home runs. It's been home run after home run after home run with his leadership. I really wanted to give him a round of applause for that. Jim Craig, he changed this Legion, I'm telling you.